Hello, beautiful people. What if I told you that the most critical decisions in your life are often influenced by something that you're not consciously aware of? Feeling too angry, too anxious, or even too happy, which I call as emotionally charged, can dramatically impact the decisions that you make. Today, we'll explore how we can navigate what I believe is the number one threat to sound decision making. Let's get to it. So at every juncture of our lives, we have to make decisions, and there comes points where we have to make very important decisions. And generally, what happens is at these important decision-making junctures, we are not emotionally stable. And at these heightened emotions, the decisions are not generally the best. What could end up happening is you might make a decision which you might regret later on. And it happens to us a lot in our life that we make a decision and then we regret that we didn't think through the problem properly. And these decisions have a lot of repercussions down the line. So the first step is to identify that this exists. So what I try to do to rectify this is whenever I feel like I'm emotionally charged, too anxious or too angry or even too happy, I try to avoid making critical decisions because I know I might regret this later on and I'm not in a proper state to make a sound decision. The first thing that I try to do is try to delay the decision making. That is, if I can do this at a later time when I'm more emotionally stable rather than right now, when the decision might not be the best. So I would like to tell you a story that recently happened to me and how this provoked some thought in me. Let's get to it. The moon is looking really pretty here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, it's not a lot. So I want to tell you a little bit about my experience that I had a few days back. So in the morning, we were missing some eggs for breakfast. So I decided to go down to the grocery store with my baby girl just to, get some eggs and come back. So it was supposed to be a short trip, maybe less than 10 minutes. So I grabbed her and we went down. So as soon as I entered the grocery store, I realized, there's some good smell coming from the pastry section. So I went there and they were cooking croissants, and freshly baked ones too. And I just had to have it. And when I asked them for it, they said it'll take around 10 to 15 minutes. So I said, why not? I could wait. I have the time to spare. I'm with my baby. I just went for a short walk and I came back. So when it was ready, so I took them, I took my eggs, and then I needed something else. I went into the cashier. Now at the cashier there was a huge queue, so this just bummed me out. I'm like, okay, I have to wait for this now. I already waited for around 10 minutes for the croissants and now I have to wait. So I just calmed myself down. It's okay, I'll sit and wait. So as the line was getting shorter and shorter and it was coming to my turn, they just announced that none of the cashiers were working, and this just bummed me out. Like, I got to the end of the line, I waited for my croissants and the cashier is not working, and they mentioned that we couldn't make any purchases. And people were getting mad all around me. And me with my baby, I was also growing very impatient with the staff and, with my experience in general. But then I just reminded myself to just calm down and then assess the situation properly. So if we can understand that, the situation is getting tensed and, my emotions are getting good of me and this is not a good time to make a decision, try to delay it. First to identify it and then try to delay the decision if possible. So suppose your manager comes to you, very tough topic comes up and you feel yourself getting too anxious and too nervous. So if you can try and ask the person, can we have this discussion later, or can you give me some time to think over it? This is always a good practice to have. Let's get to the next point. If you made it this far, a like to the video would be very helpful. It really does help. Let's continue. So not all situations are the same. So sometimes the decision has to be made then and there. It cannot wait for some time, you cannot buy some more time. So in those situations, what I do and what I implore you to do also is to take a quick breath. That is, breathe in quickly and breathe out slowly, so that you are emotionally more stable and you come to your senses a little bit better than how you are. So this can help you relieve the anxiety, stress, everything. I go more into detail in this video over here, but a quick breath, breathe in quickly and breathe out very slowly. This helps you to calm your nerves down, or if you're too angry, it can help you to overcome that anger, or if you're too nervous, it can help you to overcome that anxiety. So another thing that could help you also is to think back to your past experiences where you had to make important decisions, but you found yourself to be not in the right emotional state, and maybe you could have done the wrong decision in that place. So you can go back into your past to identify situations where this happened and try and relive them to identify what you can improve upon and how you can better manage those situations. So always retroactively thinking about what has happened in the past, and trying to learn from your mistakes if you have made any. This is always a good practice, because there's a good chance that you will be in a similar situation in the future as well. So if you're prepared for it, if you go into your mind and identify yourself, okay, this is how I was and this is how I would change things, this will always help you. So continuing my grocery story, so what I finally ended up doing was not asking the people to call the manager like a Karen, or just getting angry and storming off. So what I decided was, since it's already done, so these things were not in my control. The cashier not working out, it was not in my control. The long queue, it was not in my control. So what was in my control is, I could go to another grocery store and get the job done. So that's what I did. So I took a short breath, quickly dropped off those things over there, whatever I had, and then I went to another grocery store and got the things. So it was supposed to take 10 minutes, but it ended up taking half an hour. But at least I got the job done. I got the groceries that I wanted, rather than being frustrated, angry, and just dropping it and getting back home. I'm done with this, I'm just going back home. I had been in previous situations like this, and I had planned for this, not actively planned for delaying my grocery shopping, but planned for being in a stressful situation where I could, feel myself getting angry or frustrated, and then calming myself down. I know that getting angry or anxious or frustrated, it's a normal human tendency. It happens to everybody. What matters is how we deal with it. So I'm glad that I dealt with it in that way. I'm not saying I'm perfect or, I'm so good at it. Everybody gets this, gets emotionally charged. That's how I put it anyway. And it's just a matter of how we deal with it. It's, not letting it get the best of us. I wouldn't ask you to remove emotion completely from your thought process. That's not how we work anyway. What I want you to explore is to identify if you have felt extreme emotions when making crucial decisions. Try to mitigate that somehow. Try to delay it for a future time when you are more emotionally stable. But emotion is required, because that's what makes us human as well. Without emotions, we are not robots where we think analytically every time. Emotions are important. What I'm telling you is to not to take it to the extreme and make a decision. So to summarize, there are 4 things. First, to identify that you are getting emotionally charged. Second, to try to delay it as much as possible, at least until you are more stable. If you're not able to do it, number 3, try to take a quick breath to calm yourself at that moment itself. And number 4, try to imagine it in situations where you were in similar situations previously, and try to identify what you could correct. That's all from me. If you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. A like and a subscribe would be very helpful. Goodbye.